Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast. I am so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And I am so stoked today to have Matt Davis with me. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, good morning. Let's, as we say out here in the West, let's rodeo, cowgirl.
So tell me a little bit about your business, what you do, and who you serve.
Yeah, I own Davis Business Law, and we operate from Kansas City down to Austin and about to go into San Antonio. And we, as our name implies, we do business law. Most of our clients are small business clients. We've got a few big businesses that we represent, and we help them with problems and opportunities. Now, those are our external clients. Our internal clients, which is an important distinction in our world. On the lawyer side, are lawyers with a big heart who want to help people, who want structure, who want to know that they win every day. And, that distinction, a lot of people don't make, but it's super critical to our success. Frankly, it's super critical to everybody's success.
Yeah. What would you say is the number one mistake that business owners make today?
Well, that's a heck of a question. Externally, we're lawyers. From a legal perspective, the thing we see all the time is people going into partnerships when they don't need to, because they, when they're starting a business, they're like, oh, wow, look at all this learning curve I have to go up, and look at all these daunting tasks. And they think, oh, well, this person will augment my skills. They will make it better, and we'll be able to work together. Look, it very, very rarely works. Business is about taking responsibility. Business leadership is for tackling those things, tackling those challenges. And when you think somebody else is going to help you with it, it generally doesn't work out. And it's just sort of a license to have a mess, to have a train wreck. And we do a whole lot of what we call business divorces. And sometimes they're pretty ugly. I mean, we had 3 or 4 leads yesterday about exactly that.
Wow. That's like incredible. I would think that too. My dad years ago he's an engineer, and what does he know about business? I have no idea, but he decided, this was like, I just graduated high school, and literally he opens this business, a deli, mind you, and does a partnership with a friend at work. Now, I don't know how that ended. I guess I never will. He never discussed it. But I know they don't have the business anymore. And I know that the minute that I actually managed the business. Like, I had to stay. I was supposed to go to Loyola University, and I had to stay in state because he needed me in this deli because he had a full-time job as an engineer. It was the craziest thing. Needless to say, it was the worst mistake. I knew it even as a young kid that it was the worst mistake they made, because right as that happened, a big deli moved down the street. So the competition was just too much, even though we were known as an Italian deli, and we weren't even Italian, but that's another story for another time. But, it's funny, I thought, when I went into business for myself, the first thing I kind of thought of is well, how am I going to protect my business? From somebody stealing it, from somebody, suing me for, all that. So how can business owners protect their businesses?
Well, look, we've got a really good tool over on our website. The website's davisbusinesslaw.com. And it's called the Strong Protected Business Checklist. Go to the resource tab, pull it down. It's free, because what we did is we took all of the experience, hundreds of years of experience with the lawyers in the firm. I said, hey guys, let's make a list of what the vulnerabilities of businesses are. And then and by the way, then we got the list, and then we categorized it by the size of the business. We kind of used two variables because they correlate, the revenue and or the number of employees, because, if you got 250,000 in revenue, you probably shouldn't have 20 employees or you're going broke, right? But we're talking full-time employees. But, maybe at that point you got 2 or 3, which is probably still a little high. But anyway, look, we looked at it. I said, look, when you're just starting out, let's not worry about your succession planning for your business, because guess what? You don't have anything, right? Now, for instance, we're almost at $8 million business next year. Yeah, we need to start thinking about that. Probably should have thought about it a year or two ago, because we grow at 30% a year is how we set up to grow. We map it out and go do it. So check that out. It's a great tool, just built out of years of legal experience and then tailored down to where you are in business to go, okay, this is probably a more serious concern than it was when you were smaller. Think of it that way.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So what are some tricks that we can use to proactively protect our businesses?
Well, okay, man, these are great questions and easy for me. I've been reading, what's his name? Sorry, Keith Cunningham a lot. And, he talks about that and just the importance of protecting your business and of avoiding mistakes, right? And that's something we teach. The main thing you have to do is you have to ask yourself what can go wrong, right? But that's just a question to the universe. The one thing I always say is the people that will deal with their vulnerabilities are the ones that capitalize on their opportunities, right? Okay, because, things are going to go wrong. The wheels are going to come off the bus. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. But, when you can figure out which wheel is loose, then you're ahead. Okay, I guess we look at this all the time. In my first book, The Art of Preventing Stupid, is ultimately just about how to brainstorm that. Because if you just ask what can go wrong, that's not an insightful question. But if you go, okay, what can go wrong with the management of the business, right? What, and specifically, we break it down with some granularity of looking at what catastrophes can hit us. For us, it's me dying, right? Or our COO dying. And by the way, that's one reason we don't travel together.
Wow, it's like the President of the United States.
Well, we've got 35 families that depend on us knowing what the hell we're doing. We ought to be responsible about it. And, or what can go wrong with your employees? What can go wrong with your marketing? What catastrophes can hit your sales process? And the short answer to your question is the best way to be prepared is to brainstorm, and then you're either going to prepare or you're going to prevent. And we've got some great tools. Again, go to the resource tab at Davis Business Law. We've got the Business Immune System Report, which is what The Art of Preventing Stupid is about. And we've got some tools that are really, we haven't rolled out yet in the next book, which I just need to get around to publish, but I got a couple things going on, right? So, and those are the strong protected business tools. They're just building on great ways to brainstorm and then great ways to prioritize what you can deal with. If you do it, those are the people that move fast because they're avoiding errors. Those are the companies that stay on offense rather than on defense. Think of it that way.
Yeah, I think it's, in some cases, it's very important to be on offense. So I was intrigued. You mentioned your book, The Art of Preventing Stupid. I love that. I love the title. Why did you title your book that?
Well, guess what? Entrepreneurs think they're 12 feet tall and bulletproof. That's the common denominator, right? It takes a certain level of guts and bravado to go, hey, I'm going to go start this business. I can do better than everybody else in the world. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you know the type. You're an entrepreneur, and they just have this swagger. And I'm kind of going, hey, look, I know from experience as 27 years as a business lawyer, this is the crap that goes wrong all the time. And most of the time it's a stupid mistake. It's a stupid mistake that if you had taken the time to go, okay, let me think this through. Let me not make an emotional decision. Let me make a rational decision, or let me weigh the risks in a responsible way. Most of our mistakes are stupid. I know. I mean, I'm guilty too, right? And that's a constant. But when we can minimize that, we're ahead. And my push is not entirely altruistic in the sense that we love working with people when we're working with them on opportunities. That's a lot more fun for us. And by the way, it's a lot more fun for us being all my attorneys, because it's really cool to see somebody go achieve something rather than just, oh, we've got some crappy lawsuit down in the Circuit Court of Jackson County, Missouri, down in the hellhole of Kansas City. So not that Kansas City's bad, but Jackson County's or Harris County, Texas, particularly difficult places to get anything accomplished.
Yeah. Now, in your book, you talk about all business being a series of circular systems. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a diagram in there, and your business works like this. Let's think of you as the hub, and then there's 6 spokes going around it. So there's the ownership. You could think of that as having management. Somebody else came up with this, and I can't figure out. I learned it at a conference once. So I apologize if you're listening and you're the guy that came up with this. I would love to give you credit, but this is not necessarily it is absolutely not my thinking to begin with. But, what you start with is you start with the people, and the people do the work, right? So you got to have the people. Now, if it's just you, it's just you. You're the people and you're in the middle. So those are that's your team. And then they do the production. Okay. So that's something that can go wrong. There was a point where we had some attorneys that we realized weren't very good. That was a production threat to us, right? Get them out of the system, right? Then they have to do it in a plant. Okay. Or a facility. Now, some facilities are mobile. And, but here's our facility. You're looking at it right here. This is our main office. And, it's a problem for us right now because it's not big enough. And so I'm having to think about that. And I'm having to think about what I need and how I ought to structure it. So we got people doing the production in the plant, and then we got to measure it, right? We got to measure it. And, Jamie and I were just in here talking about, metrics on our leads, which is marketing feeding into the next point after this. And, leads by markets that we operate in. But ours are complex because we've got several lead streams. We call it a lead pancake or pancakes because we got, here's this, here's social, here's Google Ads, here's Google My Business, here's another Google. So anyway, we got to measure that, and you got to learn how to go do that. And you got to think about, where it can go wrong, where your metrics can go wrong. You got to think about what you don't know. Next one's marketing. Marketing is different than sales, kids. That was a pregnant pause right there because lots of people talk about marketing and sales. Completely different, completely distinct processes. Now, yeah, of course they meet. Of course, there's dovetail. Of course, good marketing feeds to easier sales, but they're different processes. So you got to think about your marketing. And, there's lots that can go wrong there. And, the great story we always tell is the guy, one of our clients who very reliant on Google Ads, very competitive industry, was working with his girlfriend who he cheated on, who then got all of her girlfriends to go click, 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 click. And 20-some $1,000 later, because he didn't have a cap on his Google ads, he's out of business, right?
Wow.
So, that stuff happens, and you have to think, you have to brainstorm. What we're doing is we're setting up. This is what's in the business immune system report, which is just a list of 21 questions you can ask yourself. Not all are going to apply, but they're going to give you insight into what the hell can go wrong and what you need to learn and where you're slacking off. All those add up to threats and vulnerabilities to your business. And it's going to give you a powerful one. Last one is sales. And then, by the way, sales leads back to how much work you have to do, which is how many people you need. So that's how it works. It's a flow. It's a circle. And once you understand that, and then once you start to understand and ask yourself about the threats to it, which come from three sources, which are catastrophes or disasters, sucker punches, whatever you want to call it, to ignorance. And that's a provocative word, which means this is what you need to learn. And guess what? If you're doing your business right, you're always learning something. I mean, I talked to my 83-year-old uncle the other day. He's a Yale undergrad, Harvard B School grad, built a huge business empire in Dallas. And he called me, he goes, man, I can't believe how stupid I feel today. Right? He's still doing business. He's still doing deals. And he's just like, Matt, you're so right. You always feel stupid, even when, and I'm looking at this guy going, wow, this is, one of the business titans that I know. And then, by the way, the third thing is ineptitude, which is just another word for being a slacker. Because it's like, when you know it, but if you don't do it and you don't walk the walk, and guess what? We all do it every day. And it's all about being honest with yourself, being insightful, being self-critical, but you gotta have a structure of getting down to ask smart questions about where you're vulnerable.
Yeah. Many people out there are probably, thinking about, and I know I've had to hire an attorney, and he was really, really good and helped me out. It was kind of a mistake that I made. We have to do like these, I'm sure everybody has to do this all over the country, but I know in Connecticut, we have to fill out these, I'm an LLC, so I had to fill out this report. But I didn't know. And then when this other lawyer put my LLC together, she didn't mention, which is now part of just what you have to do. So I had no idea that there was even something it was just a matter of going on to the site, the government site, and just answering a few questions. That's all. And I didn't know about it. So literally what did they do? They dissolved my business. So I had to hire a lawyer to do that because the paperwork just seemed too complicated. But what I was thinking about with all this right now is what, when looking for a lawyer, right? What should business owners look for when hiring a lawyer?
Somebody who answers the phone. How about that?
A what?
Somebody who answers the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we get that all, and that's something we're pretty good at. I mean, I say we're pretty good because I'm never satisfied with how responsive we are, but you got to find somebody who will communicate and who will take that seriously. There's lots and lots of good business lawyers out there. But if they're not going to communicate, they're not going to help you make smart business decisions, right? I mean, because And there's lots of them that are really bad about it. And you also have to find somebody who's humble. The thing that we always look for when we're hiring is attorneys who recognize that they're not the hero, that the client is the hero in the story we're working on. And so this sounds a little, new agey or fluffy or whatever, but it's not. We're looking for attorneys, and people should, because we know what we're selling, in the sense of we're selling great legal services. And so if you're looking for great legal services, really pay attention to the attorney that you're interviewing and their emotional intelligence and their ability to put themselves in your shoes, to empathize, and also to communicate. Because, there's lots of attorneys out there that just think that they're the hero, that this is about the them show. And, they're showboats and grandstanders. And, come on, if we're business owners, if we're entrepreneurs and we're trying to make smart business decisions, that's our tagline. That's what I tell everybody is, guys, we're helping our clients make good business decisions, smart ones. And if you don't get the sense that the person, the attorney you're talking to gets that, run.
Yeah. So this is the part of the show where we sort of get a little real. You're in business, you're a CEO of your own business. And, what do you love most about being in business for yourself?
We're successful. Look, we run a really solid business. We run good numbers. We're conservative. We map out growth, and we dial in our growth within 1% every year. Our numbers would freak people out, and it's just because Jamie and Tricia are so good at that. I love getting to work with people. I love the challenge of building. I love and Jamie's our firm administrator. She has been my right hand for years. And we just kind of love the challenge of figuring it all out. And I've got this chart over here on my whiteboard right here that we were meeting, I guess, Monday or Tuesday. It's Friday now. And just figuring out how to enter new markets with leads and the lead pancake or pancakes, really. And then we have a decline curve for how many leads we need per attorney. Okay, this all sounds kind of like nerdy stuff. And granted, if you're charging me with that, guilty as charged. But we've got this chart whiteboarded up here, and we're like, that's how we enter a new market. It's that simple. And, I'm still kind of giddy looking at it. So what I love figuring out complex problems like that. I love getting to use this noggin up here and going, oh, okay, we can do this. Let's go figure it out. And it's fun working with all these people. We built a culture of people that we love working with, and we hire for culture. And, every now and again, we make a mistake, not too frequently. And when we make a mistake, we get them out of the ecosystem.
I love that. We all have struggles in our business. What would you say in your business in today's world is your biggest struggle?
I'm looking up here again at my whiteboard, and I always talk about every business is a word problem, right? And we all kind of hated word problems when we were kids. Jim is driving to New York City at 60 miles an hour and he's in Philadelphia. How long, right? That. But that's what business is. The reason they had us do that is because life is kind of a series of word problems. And it is, once you think about it, it's kind of a disturbing thought, but, if we're going to be grownups, maybe we ought to go, okay, it is, if I want to lose 20 pounds, this is what I have to do, and reverse engineer it. Our biggest challenges right now are, we've just spent a lot of time reinventing a lot of marketing, for our firm. And, so that has been a challenge, and it's a challenge that we kind of broke what we had in place with our growth. By the way, Mike Michalowicz has got a great new book out called Fix This Next, and it's
the guy that wrote he wrote the pumpkin plan too, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and
I'm just finishing that book. It's like amazing. That guy's amazing.
He is. He just talks about stuff in such simple, easy to understand ways, but he's brilliant. And by the way, he gave me a plug on The Art of Preventing Stupid. So thank you again, Mike. And, but what that book is about setting priorities. And he he takes Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he basically reinvents it for business and says, okay, here's the hierarchy of needs, which gives you a way to set priorities. Sorry, I'm off on a little tangent, but it's really that good. And just beautiful, because he goes, look, yeah, your lower priorities, for instance, and always marketing and getting lead gen to continue to feed your business is on your lower level of priorities. Well, we broke it because we grew, right? And so he says, sometimes you're going to get cracks in your foundation, and you always got to go back to the foundation. And so we're pretty happy right now where we are with our lead gen. And recruiting has been a problem, but I think we fixed a lot of that. So I don't know what my biggest challenge is right now, but I know it's going to punch me in the face pretty soon. So.
Okay, one piece of advice that you can give someone. Now, my listeners are people who are startups. They're people who've been seasoned business owners 20, 30 years. And then there's some people that are thinking of owning their own business. Why? I don't know. But anyways, what would be that one piece of universal advice that you could give them?
That I already said it. Stay out of partnerships. Don't talk yourself into that. Unless you are seasoned business people and unless you're basically an investor, right? Don't get into business partnerships, because 99 times out of 100, that's going to just hamstring you.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for being such an awesome guest today. And could you just let the audience know, how they can get in touch with you if they need you or if you resonated with them?
Yeah. Website's Davis Business Law. And if you want to pop me an email, mdavis@Davis Business Law. And I'm one of those dorks that keeps like 5 emails in my email box. So I respond to emails and keep them clean. So and keep my inbox clean is what I mean. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And everyone out there, this is the Biz Gone Social podcast. Until next week, I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram @BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.